yesterday was the day that I moved my tomato seedlings out into the garden. And it was a happy day, but also kind of I don't know. It was like I'm gonna miss talking to them in the morning. I would come out and say good morning to my little seedlings in the front hallway, and now they're not there. They are out here in the garden and looking very happy. Doesn't look like they had much effect from being transplanted. I tried to plant them pretty deep into the soil, so they look a little smaller than they did in the cups just because I planted them deeper into the garden. This is the smallest one. I don't know if it's gonna do okay. It's one of the rainbow blend slicer tomatoes. So the two rows in the middle are the rainbow blend, and they're a little bigger than a salad tomato, but not a beefsteak or anything like that. Well, maybe there are some beefsteak. I'll have to read the seed package again and see what kind of seeds that they said were in those seed package. But I don't know which seeds were what, and we're gonna have to just wait and see what these do. Some of them on the seed package did say they were determinate, and most of them were indeterminate. It's just going to be a matter of letting them grow and figuring out what seeds I planted from this rainbow blend seed pack. This is another cherry tomato, and it looks really good. But yeah, they're not inside anymore. They're out here. The front hallway is empty. All the seed starts got put into the garden. I planted the peppers. They are over there on the far corner. Red peppers and green peppers. The seed starts of basil and lettuce are beside them. In the front are the marigolds that I did from seed with radishes, carrots, onions, lettuce, and more radishes on the other side. I made a quick trip into a garden center yesterday to pick up some things to plant, since I knew the tomato seedlings were going to be going in the garden. And I'm excited to have some asparagus. This will probably take 2 to 3 years before we'll be harvesting it, but they had it as a plant already started in a pot, and we're going to try it. It needs to develop a good root system and grow for 2 to 3 years before you can really harvest off of asparagus. But it's in this back corner of the garden, and we'll let it grow, and maybe in 2 years we'll have fresh asparagus. I also decided to put some squash in the back part of the garden. I'm hoping back here it gets enough sun. In the morning the sun's kind of blocked by a tree, but it does get most of the day in the sun back here before 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when the sun goes behind the trees on the other side. So these are spaghetti squash, and they went in the ground yesterday. They're back here beside the dill. I put another sage. I think that's what's that called? Like a bicolor or tricolored sage? No, variegated sage. I don't know. It's sage. And beside the sage, I saw a little pack of the purple basil, which I tried to start from seed. Didn't have very good germination on it. Too cold this spring in the winter seed sowing. Probably not the best choice in seeds to start from winter seed sowing. The seed starts I did for basil inside, which are in the front of this garden, they did much better. So basil will definitely be an inside seed start. Basil, so sage, basil, rosemary, dill, chives, that's the big patch of oregano. And into the oregano, I stuck a little sprig of a thyme. That's a little thyme start plant. I used to have thyme back here as well. I think the oregano just kind of took it over, but I'm going to try to keep that section over there for the thyme, and I'll cut back the oregano on that end first so that the thyme has spot to grow. So the spaghetti squash are here. That was one pot and it had 3 seeds in it. I was able to separate this one off, but these two were too close together, so I just put them both in the ground together. And on the other side is a buttercup. They didn't have any butternut, they had buttercup. So it's the same as butternut, it's just a smaller, I think it's just a smaller version of butternut. So it went in the back part of the garden as well. In the front of that, I'm going to try some cauliflower. 4 cell pack of cauliflower, and I stuck those back here. And they are in behind, that's our row of sunflowers, zinnias, and then cauliflower. Over here's the Brussels sprouts. They are doing really well with the cabbage. And the one thing that's missing from here is the rhubarb. I don't really eat rhubarb and it just kind of grows every year, so I decided to move it out of this prime garden location to put in some more brassicas. So the rhubarb got moved out to the back and it's behind the raspberries in its own little spot back here beside a tree, and actually it recovered quite well from being transplanted. It was very wilty and I didn't know if it was going to survive, but this morning it's looking much better. So the rhubarb got its own little spot back here, and I think it'll do well back there. We can just leave it and let it grow. I was just picking the leaves off and the rhubarb stems, and one of the kids tried eating some of the rhubarb, but we don't really know what to do with it. So I left the one little tulip. That's the beautiful little purple tulip that decided to grow in the garden. So it's going to grow there for this year. I will move it into the other landscape once it's done blooming. The cabbage, the purple cabbage, is there. It looks good, and it'll fill up that spot probably pretty quickly. But at the garden center, that was pretty slim picking. So they had kohlrabi, and it looks like a really interesting plant to grow. So I got a 4 cell pack of it, and I put it in beside the little raised garden that was here. And they had some pak choi. It's here, a cell pack of 4 of pak choi, and just trying to grow it. I don't know if we'll use it for some stir fries or what we'll do with it, but it'll be fun to grow. Radishes are doing well. I think I might need to thin them a little bit. The spacing looks okay on most of them, but there's definitely some that I'll have to pull just to give them a little bit more space, but they are looking really good. We do have some germination on the lettuce. So that was the just from seed lettuce that I sprinkled in here. And onion, carrots, they have some good germination on them. Lots more growth on the carrots. Onions, I'm not really seeing any germination on the onions, so I'm not sure why, but they're there. Radishes, that second row of radishes. The little seed starts of the mixed greens, they came out into the garden with the tomatoes, the peppers, and basil. The marigolds are looking really good. Those are the giant marigolds, so they will get quite big. And yeah, they're in with the peppers. We've got red peppers and green peppers. That one green pepper I think is the best one right here. It looks really good. These 2 little ones, they're still doing okay, still growing. And then we've got the 2 red peppers at the back. And the germination on the beans that I planted the other day, they look really good. So I put 3 or 4 beans in 2 days ago, because the first set of beans that I put in were over 2 weeks and there was no germination on them. So I think it was too cold. But they are in beside the cucumbers, and back there is the zucchini. Over here beside the hot tub, I put in a grass. So in the winter, when there is no foliage on the trees over here, so that is our neighbor's house in behind the trees. I don't know if you can really see, you can kind of see their roof line. But when there's no growth in the winter, it's pretty open from their backyard to our backyard. And when we come out to the hot tub in the winter, we just added some grass for some privacy. It'll grow really big and tall and it'll stay pretty big and tall even into the fall and the winter before the snow kind of crushes it. But it went in here beside the hot tub off the back patio. Another project that I do every year are these palms that I put on either side of the stairs into the hot tub. One of them was just from Walmart. They only had one, so I had to grab a second one from a nursery. So we will see which one does better. They're two different kinds of palms. They look very similar. One, I think it's called a cattail palm, and the other one is a majesty palm. We'll see which one does better. And I'm also going to try and keep them alive for the winter in the house. Last year we didn't get them in time and they got affected by the frost. But this one, you can see it came with this damage on the tips. But we have new growth. And as I get the new growth coming in, I'll be able to deal with some of these tips that have gone brown. Yeah, that's what happens every year at the side of the hot tub. I'm still debating whether to put some annuals around the bottom. Again, probably some Supertunia Vista bubblegum would look, I think, nice there. I'm not sure if this gets enough sun for them, but we will keep you updated on what I do with these. So around to the front of the house is our lovely garbage day is in a couple of days. But I have decided to put what is this again? Lavender. Apparently it likes rocky, dry, neglected spots. So it went here out in front of the house. And these ugly pink cement planters, they were both here on either side of this lavender. So I carefully rolled and moved this other one over to the other side of the garage and planted some Supertunia bubblegum, which are these bigger ones, and they didn't have any white Supertunia, so I had to go with the white wave petunias. So in here, the white wave with the Supertunia Vista, and it's the pink bubblegum. And the spikes, I'll show you how come they have ended up out here. They were the ones that I planted in the planters in the back, but I have replaced those with something else. So when I first did the planters, I was looking for purple fountain grass and I couldn't find any, but yesterday when I was out, I found these grasses. They're very similar to the purple fountain grass, but they have these beautiful cones on the top. It kind of reminds me of corn stalks, but much bigger, more substantial addition to these planters. So they got the spikes. I took the spikes out of the middle of these and moved them to those front planters that I showed you with the Supertunias, and I put these grasses inside the middle of these planters. That's the one, and this is the other one. Looking very good. These petunias in this planter seem to be doing a little better than these ones over here. But yeah, they are starting to grow and fill out. The potato vines are getting some new growth on them. And yeah, I can't wait for those to fill out and look beautiful. Probably a month it'll take before they'll have full growth and fill up these planters. The wave petunias down here on the pathway. The white, again, is doing much better than the purple one. And we have more sunflowers. And here they are. The poppy has filled up the plant support that I had it in the spring. And where's our poppy buds? Down in here there was a poppy bud yesterday. Of course I can't find it now. Here's one of them on this poppy. So it's right in here. So that is very exciting that we have poppy buds finally starting to come up on these poppies. Where was the one in here? I don't know. I'll find it and I'll show it to you guys. So in the other video, I was thinking about starting another garden. I had found a spot in the backyard, which I thought was a garden at some point, and decided to take the pine needles off of it that had been on it and amend the soil and work it up. It had some mulch on it already, and I'll show you what I created. And here it is. This is the garden that is just off our back patio on the, what side is this, north? On the west side of our house. So over here, there was this spot on the way to the bunkie, that's the kids' bunkie over there, and the potato field. There was this spot that kind of looked like it had been a garden at some point. So I raked all the pine needles off and started just taking the weeds out. And it is a garden. It has garden soil in it and some mulch. So the hydrangeas that I had in pots, I stuck them in here for now. They were not doing very well in the pots. Actually, when I pulled this one out of the pot, half of the root system was gone. So I'm not sure if this hydrangea is going to even survive, but it's in the ground. I put just some general fertilizer and some mulch in with it to see if it will develop a root system and hopefully be healthy enough to go into the winter and come back next year. And the hydrangea, that's the topiary, I might have to bring it inside over the winter. I don't know exactly what to do with it, but the petals kept curling on it. I didn't know if, I thought it wasn't getting enough water, but when I pulled it out of the pot, it was too wet. So maybe it was just that it didn't like the pot and it was too wet. But I stuck them in here, and some sedum that was in our pathway, I had to move those, and a little hosta that was in the pathway, so it got stuck back out here along with a fern. And the rest of this garden got some seeds. So all the little seed packs I had with flowers I put out here. And we've got sunflowers, some zinnias, jumbo zinnias, some more marigolds, lots of the, what are they, nasturtiums. So nasturtiums went in here as well, and sunflowers. So this will be another garden. Hopefully that will grow flowers, and I'll have those for some more cut flower arrangements. So that is the start of a brand new garden.